And welcome to Cardinals Nest 2.0, where we talk to alumni of St. Mary's University and reminisce about their athletic past. And today, our guest is none other than Bob Biebel. Bob, former basketball coach, St. Mary's University Athletic Department employee. So we'll welcome him to the show in just a second. I'm Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative for St. Mary's. My co-host is Donny Nadeau, the sports information director. Donny, thanks for being here with us once again. And I want you to sort of reintroduce Bob a little bit. I know he's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, he is, and you know, I see him at least once a year, which is always awesome. But it's so great to have him on. I'm really looking forward to just kind of reminiscing, talking talking a little basketball when he was a coach here. But even before that, his 4 years playing under Max Moloch for the baseball team. So there's a lot to talk about. And I know one thing, Dean, one thing about Bob Biebel. He's never short on words. So this should be a very entertaining show. So Bob, welcome to the show, Cardinals Nest 2.0. We're thrilled to have you.
Well, great. Hey, thanks for the invite. Always good to see friendly faces. Remember doing these back when I was on campus, and it was always great. It was just kind of beginning, and to know that you guys are continuing to do this and finding creative ways in our current environment to still produce a great show and things is wonderful. I'm honored to be here. I have to say, congratulations, kudos to you, Donny, for, you will be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. A great accomplishment and certainly well-deserved. Your legacy and what you have done to promote the department and just create a great environment there is second to none. So congratulations on that. And then always good to see Dean. Great teacher there. I know my daughter knew Dean too because she went to school here and always had great things to say about him. So real happy and proud to be here again.
Beebs, before we reminisce about your playing time and your coaching time, why don't you talk about what you're doing now, where you've gone since leaving St. Mary's?
When I first left St. Mary's in 2011, I was working I was the president of Lourdes Academy, which is a Catholic school system in Oshkosh. Did that for about 5 years experience, and now for the last 5, I've been at Xavier Catholic Schools in Appleton as the VP for advancement. So doing a lot of fundraising, working with alumni, connecting things, and really trying to find the resources to provide students and teachers with the tools they need to be successful. So it's interesting, Xavier started as a Christian Brothers school. So a number of faculty from Xavier actually were at St. Mary's at one time. So it's a great experience and some good connections here.
Well, let's hit the way back button, and okay. Let's go back to the late 70s. And Bob Biebel comes to St. Mary's and plays 4 years of baseball under Max. Talk a little bit about your experience playing baseball here and your experience playing under Max Moloch.
Yeah, it was interesting because I guess, I came and I was like, I had played basketball and baseball in high school, ended up playing basketball, and then, decided, hey, I'm going to go out for baseball. Had met with, was living on the dorm with, Chris Kendall, a great formal player, athletic director, just an icon at St. Mary's. And, it was just saying, hey, well, let's try out for baseball. So I went out for baseball. I remember the first day of practice. Well, first of all, I worked for Max. So, you get a work study job and they say, go see Max Moloch. So I go see Max Moloch and he takes me into a room and he gives me Army issue jacket, pants, this heavy hats and boots. And he says, you're going to not only work on the baseball fields, but you have to flood the outdoor ice rink. And my shift was like 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. You're doing it for, off work study. So you kind of do Max that way. But then playing baseball was just an incredible experience. Max was an amazing human being, a lot of long friendships, and honestly, great baseball players. Had the opportunity, to play with Jerry Hoffman, who was drafted and played in the White Sox organization as a freshman. So learned a lot and really got a good appreciation for. You think you know how to play the game, and then you're coached by somebody by Max, and you realize how much you really don't know. And I think we all come in as these headstrong, well, I know more than Max. And before too long, you realize you have no clue. And I think that was a great learning experience that helped, not only as a player, but later as a coach, and that type of thing. So Max was definitely somebody who shaped the way, I coached and did things.
Bob, I'm curious, when you had that 2 to 4 a.m. Shift of flooding the outdoor ice, did you have 6 a.m. practice then too, or workouts?
No, not really. But I'll tell you what, it was so cold. And that was before global warming, okay? So you would go out there and honestly, the wind would blow and the water would get on your clothes and you'd just be like a walking icicle. And you think, who does that now? Okay, who would go out there at 2:00? But you're like, hey, I got to get my $1.80 an hour or whatever it was. Got to pay this tuition or get somebody to buy some food, that type of stuff. So, it's a good work ethic.
Beebs, tell me a little bit, and I'm sure that a lot of people don't know this, but they called you Footer.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you got that nickname.
So back in my senior year in high school, I had some really difficult issues with my feet and wasn't able to play sports my senior year, which was kind of like, hey, do I even try to play at St. Mary's? So I had these orthopedic shoes, okay, that they built up special for my feet, and I had trouble walking, and I used to wear these things. And one day Chris Kendall was just like, hey, Footer, and it just kind of stuck around. First of all, big feet, and then these kind of orthopedic shoes, which eventually they were able to make me spikes and kind of help out. It was kind of the beginning of those orthotic stuff to make special shoes to be able to play. So it was all Chris Kendall. He started it, and back in the day, every dorm had like dorm shirts or sweatshirts, and you just put a name on your back. And to this day, I don't even know guys' names. It was all their nickname. Wendell or Footer or Lou Babe. It was just kind of funny. Oh, that's who that was. Now I know. So it just kind of everybody called it like that.
I find it interesting, Biebs, that you played here and then you came back and you were fortunate enough to coach here. Talk a little bit about your time as the men's basketball head coach.
Oh, it was great. As the opportunity, Don Olson hired me in 1998. So coming back was special. It's kind of funny. The first time you walk back in, you think, oh, I see things that I remember. But really, the first time walking back when I came into the interview was like the smells were the same. And it's just something that clicks. The wood, the hallways. It just brought you back to that very special time, and really the special bond that you had with your teammates. And now, from a coaching perspective, trying to maintain that special bond that you had with your players, with other coaches. It's just something special. And as you get older, I don't know how much you appreciate it when you're younger, but as you get older now, it's something that you really look back on, and it was a special time. But honestly, it was an honor. It was great to be here, and just so many good people around St. Mary's.
Bob,
I don't know if you've had a chance at all to follow the current men's basketball team, but certainly this is a team on the rise and a lot of excitement on campus once again here for men's basketball.
Yeah, I had a chance. I didn't get up last year. I did watch a few games, on the internet, which is great that, we were able to do that. I know there was a group of guys that got together in Chicago a couple years ago, and I was supposed to go, and then it was like, well, it may snow. I had to go there and come back on the same day, and I was like, I wasn't sure I could do it. But I always have the opportunity. Nick Winnicky always invites me to speak to the baseball team. So we'd always go the last home game of the year. So I wouldn't get a chance to come back and watch the team. And they are doing some great things. And, last year was a special run for them, and they lost some close games, but then they came back and really played very well. Had a chance, beating St. Thomas. They had a couple opportunities, and I know that feeling. It's like getting that streak, ending it would have been just wonderful. But they really did themselves proud and really are improving a great deal. And it's unfortunate what's happening now. Hopefully they'll be able to play and make those playoffs and take care of some business there. So kudos to, everybody who's built that program in the last, 3 or 4 years. It's a great thing to see.
Bob, you mentioned that, St. Mary's is a special place when you came back as a coach, the smells and whatnot. You've stayed connected with St. Mary's ever since ever since you started here as a freshman. Talk a little bit about the connection in terms of, you show up at the golf outing every year that we have for the Excellence Fund, and, you come back for games and you speak to Coach Winnicky's team. Can you put into words what it is about St. Mary's that really hits you especially?
I guess you just have to say, we went there, right after high school, and it was just an important time in your life. And the experiences that we got, in my 4 years there from 75 to 79, and the people and the faculty, how they treated you, how they supported you, it just made such a big, left such a big, mark in your heart. And, the experiences you had. I got to tell you, not everybody has a great college experience, but I think the people who spent time there when we were there was an amazing time. People loved each other. We still talk all the time. It was an amazing place, a fun place. It was just wonderful. And so coming back, everybody just looks forward to it because those were great times in your life. And to be able then to connect to, the people that are still there, and see the new players and the new people and new faculty and meeting new people and trying to share that part that we had with that, what we had at St. Mary's, and try to relate that to that tradition of St. Mary's. It's just really important to do. And it means a lot. And, even for me personally, I came back to work there. So every time I come back, it's about the city too. It's about connecting with local people and, reminiscing. And this is where, my kids grew up, really went to grade school, went to high school. My daughter went to college there. It's really special. And really from a family situation, the opportunities that St. Mary's allowed my children, both my son and daughter, to get a college education. My son was able to go to St. John's, through the program they have. That was one of the biggest gifts that I could say that I gave to them. And I think they really were appreciative of it, and it means a lot and has really shaped their lives. So I hope that answers that. Yeah.
Yeah. You reminisced about your time as a baseball player and under Max Moloch. How about when you were the basketball coach? Are you still able to keep in touch with some of your former student athletes?
Yeah, we do. Honestly, it's kind of funny. We used to have a fantasy football with some of the kids that I coached. And then, when I was the head coach, but when I helped out with, Coach Landrum and those teams, we actually during COVID had a couple Google Meets, and they were pretty funny. And now it's like whenever we even get married, we get a chance to get together. Still a couple, those proverbial email chains where somebody gets ripped or something, and it goes for a few days, which is kind of fun. So a lot of opportunity, and social media, through Facebook and those types of things, you're able to kind of keep up with what's happening and share some experiences with them. So that's a wonderful thing. And it's amazing. So many great people I had the opportunity to coach. And People have been very successful. They have a couple guys, Jason Bull and Brett Johnson, and Sam Posiak. We usually get together every year, and they come to Wisconsin. We played golf for a couple days. We cook fish and, those types of things. It's usually a pretty good weekend.
Beebs, you mentioned, you did mention the dreaded COVID and how, it's affected, obviously, the basketball schedule and whatnot. How has it affected you and what you're doing right now? And what challenges are you facing now working in education with this pandemic?
It's different, especially in the area of, we're trying to raise money and look for philanthropic support. So it's changed really, I think, in how you go about doing that. What you're kind of focused on. This year we do have a little COVID fund. It's just, you don't realize things. Take a science class. You used to be able to share goggles. Okay, so 30 pairs was enough. Well, all of a sudden now we need 120. And so, but the amazing thing is, there are some people who are still doing very well and still are supportive and really appreciate the fact that, school is still going and we're still doing our job. And they've been very supportive. And really, surprisingly, we have not seen a big decline in the number of people who are willing and able to support us, that type of thing. I think initially, what your focus from a fundraising standpoint was, as soon as COVID hit, people started getting furloughed. And obviously being at a private school, that could put a crunch on, are people able to pay tuition? Are they able to remain in school even online? And so our first, major campaign was really to kind of reach out and try to raise some dollars to help those families who are really were struggling, who COVID really took the greatest toll on. The other thing that really we tried to focus on then is also, local businesses and our community. And, if you own a private business, or let's say you're the owner of a pizza place, restaurant, obviously you're hurting. We created a business directory and really kind of pushed, hey, here's local businesses, try to support them. If you're going to eat out, here's a local place. If you need some work done, here's a plumber that's in our system, or an alumni, trying to help those people. And I think people are really appreciative of that. It's like St. Mary's. It's just the community that you build. And, we say Hawks helping Hawks, but it's like Cardinals helping Cardinals, right? And when people are struggling, there is that community feeling that, a place like St. Mary's or Xavier has, that people bond together to make sure that everyone is really making it through and able to carry on with their lives.
All right, Bob Biebel, our guest today on Cardinals Nest 2.0. Donny, do you have any last words? I will say, Bob, you have always had a smile that lights up the screen, and that hasn't changed at all.
Well, the thing.
No, it's been good. It's great. Like I said, it's great coming back. I tell you, the golf outings are a lot of fun, and we've been so fortunate to have good weather and meet people. Kudos to the new. Here's what I'm amazed at. Some of the new facilities coming on campus, it's gorgeous. Even my wife said, "Boy, it looks a lot different from the first time." We were back to this, past September, and she was like, "Boy, it's really different coming in now. There's new building. It's clear." It kind of reminds us, honestly, when we were walking through campus with a couple of alums, Emmett McGovern in particular. When we went to St. Mary's, it was so wide open, and that was the beauty of it. You could see that quad, and to go back and be able to see that again and have great, lines of vision. I think that's so important, and it energizes you. And it's awesome to see, and it's great that St. Mary's is really doing some wonderful things there. The other thing, if I could just get a quick plug for you guys, is the science building and the nursing programs that we read about, and that your alumni staff and advancement staff does a good job of communicating to us. It's really energizing to see that things are being done, and trying to meet the 21st century needs of learners. It's a difficult thing, and the whole partnerships that they've established have been wonderful. So, and then obviously the work in the athletic department with some of the the new buildings that they're putting up. I haven't been in the girls softball one, but the baseball one, come on, it's ridiculous to walk in there, and it's well deserved. And kudos to Nick for the job that he's done. And I kind of chuckle because Nick's a good buddy of mine, and he actually bought my house. Okay, so when I sold my house, somebody else bought it. And then Nick, when he bought his house, he's actually living in my house. But I give Nick a little grief. Nick was just a kid, when he started coaching, and you wonder, how does a young man like that, become successful? But the baseball team has been just so good over the last few years, and that program is back to somewhere where I think Max is really proud of it. And that's, he's looking down and saying, boy, they're doing some great things, and the numbers that he has. And I get a chance to meet those kids every year, and it's wonderful. And they're a special group. And it was a shame, and that they weren't able to play last year because, I hope some of the kids came back to play, Nick said, because, man, they had some great talent, and I think they're going to do some good things. Let's, knock on wood that they're able to play this year.
Well, Dean, the one thing that I always, I said it at the beginning of the show, I think you made the comment about Bob always having a smile on his face. Well, his energy is infectious. I remember when you were working here, Biebs, and I so miss our 9 o'clock pop runs that we go to the bookstore. And I never realized that it took 45 minutes to walk to the bookstore and back from our offices. I still can't understand why it took so long, but boy, I think we solved all the world's problems on those trips. And it's one of the things that I hold near and dear. It's your excitement for whatever you're doing. I could see it when you were talking about Xavier. It's infectious. It makes people feel good to talk to you, because when you're done, you have this energy because you wear off on them.
Well, thanks. So I got to say this too. I don't know how much time we have, but when every year on 9/11, people say, "Where were you on 9/11?" And that was just a while ago. And I remember we were playing tennis, Donny. We had a tennis game in the field house, and so though you don't really want to remember that date that much, it does remember. I remember where I was there. It was you, me, and Chris Kendall were playing tennis that day. And we had heard about this, and we were like, we didn't think a whole lot of it because we were engrossed in this tennis game. And then an hour later, really, the world kind of changed in many ways. And it's, we'll always remember that. And that's something that I think that can kind of, continue for years to come.
One quick question about that tennis match. Was it you and Chris, Bob, against Donny? Just to keep it fair?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. No, we had some battles. We used to have some battles
there.
We had a ladder. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we used to have a ladder, and you do challenges, and it was a lot of fun. But it was implemented by Bob. I remember, I could sit here and tell Bob stories forever, but when you were teaching bowling, I'll never forget that he used to love teaching bowling because he went and bowled against the students. And he'd come back and he'd say, yeah, I bowled this and I beat so-and-so. And it was just like, I want to be in your class.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great time and a great experience.
Well, Bob, you're always welcome back. You know that, and we'll get to see you soon here back on campus. So thanks for being on the program.
I'm looking forward to it. Get those games going. So that's awesome. Thanks for inviting me. Best of luck to everybody. Give everybody my warmest regards.
All right, that's going to do it for Cardinals Nest 2.0. Thanks for watching.